you know, when people go to court, all that dirty laundry starts coming out.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of like what's happening right now with the whole Microsoft Activision and the Sony complaints. Um, it's kind of embarrassing on both ends, right? Because Sony, they're in a position where they probably don't need to make all this hubbub about it,
Hmm.
but at the same time, it's totally understandable. And then you have Microsoft, and I'm gonna be kind of blunt here, right? And I know that we may have Xbox fans listening to the show, and Sony ponies, whatever. And um, I just this whole Microsoft thing is just pathetic, dude. It's just that just reading about it, and the more you read about all the stuff that they try to do, and all the studios and all these acquisitions, it just it just sounds so desperate, and it really is pathetic. Like Phil was out there, you know, in court saying that, oh yeah, like we're way behind Sony and Nintendo. Like it's again crazy, right? Sony and Microsoft are out here, putting their dirty laundry out, and Nintendo's back here just wiping their tears with $100 bills. It's like, oh, you guys are fighting, yeah. So man, so all right, we'll start on this one because this one for me is interesting, being a Sega kid and a longtime Sega fan, but at some point before during the release of the Xbox Series X and S, uh, Phil Spencer was considering reaching out to Sega for a possible acquisition, and we talked about it before. Like Sega had a partnership when Sega went out of the console business,
Mm.
and Sega had a partnership with Microsoft went with the Dreamcast when the Dreamcast launched, and then with the original Xbox, the Sega had a bunch of exclusive games for the Xbox that were good games, and that was a partnership that was the seeds of that partnership started back with the Dreamcast, continued after Sega uh, got out of the console business and they started publishing games on other consoles, and then they were putting stuff on Xbox that was exclusive to the Xbox, right? Um, I can't remember if it was during the Xbox Series X or the year prior. Some, fortunately, I don't have the notes, right? There's one episode out there, it could be 2019, 2020, that I mentioned that Microsoft was considering either buying or partnering with Sega, and they would release a Sega branded Xbox in Japan.
Yep. Yep.
That's a lot of
I
that.
remember this.
And I always had this feeling like they were going to go after Sega, right? For the longest time, I've had it, and look at that, man! It's crazy. So, of course, we all know that the deal did not go through, um, due to other complexities, and Sega being a foreign company and Japan being very protective of companies like that. And I mean, I guess it's a poorly kept secret about Sega. There's there alleged links to you know the Yakuza, so we'll leave it we'll leave it there.
Isaiah,
we,
don't send them after me, Obed.
we got
I'm
Pedro and Jose or
so,
whatever.
oh, yeah,
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 yeah.
whatever the name.
Jose and Omar.
Jose and Omar.
Sorry.
Got FIFA and the Yakuza after us now.
Oh my God.
Jose and Omar. Yeah, yeah, Jose and Omar. So
Jose and Omar on the run.
oh. So yeah. Uh,
Clark Kent puts on his glasses. We
oh
become
no,
Jose
I will
Omar.
recognize me now. Um, it's yeah. So it's very interesting. They also considered buying Bungie before Sony come in and swept them off and grabbed them. But they ended up going to for big fish, like, or bigger fish in this case, right? Um, it seems like their relationship with Sega at some point was kind of strained because Sega for a while did not put a ton of stuff on Xbox, but it seems like they're more open now with they have the personas and they have other games coming out, and the Persona 3 remake was announced at the Xbox event, even though it was leaked before. But
Mm.
yeah, man, it's very very interesting. We know that Sega just purchased what the Angry Birds people,
Yeah.
Rovio, right?
Yep.
And you know, I think Sega's in a healthy position. They shed their arcade operations. They're still making arcade games, but the operations that they used to run in Japan, they sold to Gigo. So, man, let's start with that. What do you think of all this? I think it's nuts, right? Because it's like me being someone that loves Sega, it's
Yeah.
it's it's a big deal. And I was gonna be honest with you again, dude. Xbox released a Sega branded console, I would buy it. That
Do
would
you
that,
feel like do you feel like though we've been spared that it just fell apart, that for all the reasons that you went through that it didn't happen, or do you think it would have been a good thing?
I I don't know.
Right?
I don't
Could
know.
have gone either way.
Yeah, yeah. I It's just that Microsoft has done such a terrible job managing their game studios
Right.
overall that I would fear for them, right? And it being like an institution in Japan, uh, it would not have ended well. Although I'm sure that another Japanese company could have come in and bought them back, right?
Sure.
If that would have been the case, but it's one of those that I really don't know if it would have been bad. It's just that Microsoft has, you know, they don't care about gaming.
No.
Gaming is back burner stuff for them, dude. They
Right.
wanna ding you on those Teams licenses and Office. That's how they get you, right?
Yeah.
And until those Assure and all the money that they're making with that. So I don't know. I really don't know. But again, if they would have released a Sega branded Xbox, I would probably buy it. Even if I don't buy
Mm.
any games, just to have it, I would buy it. I would
Yeah.
buy a box that says Sega on it.
I'm gonna open. I've got a few boxes I need to sell you. How
are
much you
they
want to
are
pay?
they empty or is there stuff in it?
You said you
Oh,
want some boxes. No, I hear you. I hear
if
you.
you
I
have
think
if
I
you
think
have it if you have Sega boxes with Sega stuff in them, nolotime@gmail.com. We'll make it happen.
make a deal. Make a
We'll
deal.
we'll pay the shipping.
There we go. There we go. No, I think you bring out a great point because it's like Microsoft on paper acquiring anything is a big deal. Like they are a huge company, a very, very well-known company with a lot of different history behind them. But with that history comes the hesitancy, specifically because we're talking about their games division. And Sega could definitely use, I'm not saying this because they're doing anything wrong necessarily, but they could use some new life to them. And had that deal happened, there could have been another new chapter in the history of Sega, and from the from the console wars days, and trying to bring them into the fold really and put them in the front of especially American gaming, because that's where Microsoft's really stronger, right? And like you said, I feel like they would have been an acquisition. It's just me theorizing. They would have picked up Sega and they would have done the same thing that they always do, just drop the ball. They would have probably like just done, very minimal products coming out, and not want gone as wild as realizing you have Sega, you can definitely utilize the IPs. You can run plenty of really, really big Sonic games and put into development multiple different projects. But it seems like they just kind of shuffle their feet with these things sometimes. And that's a concerning pattern. But I don't want to just crack down on Microsoft. They get things right. And when they do, it's really well. Like, when they do have their wins. And it's unfortunate that just when it comes to that side of the acquisitions, like there's a hesitancy because it really shouldn't be that way. And I'm not even saying like if Sony would have made a deal with them, like, oh, this would have been huge. Like it still would have been big, like just the same like we're talking with Microsoft. But man, I mean, it's Microsoft versus themselves at this moment.
Yeah. And then you got Jim Ryan saying that Game Pass, what's the is value destructive
Yeah,
for
which is so true.
it, and we've talked about it, that how
I
how
don't
how
know
much longer
how.
how much longer is Game Pass sustainable, right?
I mean, it sounds like Movie Pass, dude. Like how that thing went under. That's what it feels like.
So
The steal.
yeah, I mean the prices are going up for Game Pass. I don't know if you saw that they announced it
Even
last
with it
week, right?
going up, dude,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
still
Like I don't know how they're able to sustain it, honestly.
no way.
How much money are they losing in
So
that?
much.
Because all these titles, they gotta pay the publishers and the developers for it, right? It's not these games are not
Right.
there for free.
Right. It's licensing.
So how much money, and then keep up. I mean, I guess infrastructure is not a big deal. It's just storage, right? But when it comes to xCloud and all this other stuff, um, but we talked about it before, right? And I think that people say, "Oh yeah, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming," but I mean, do you go back and play games that are on Game Pass other than your Xbox exclusives, right? Because like
Exclusive.
because me
We need
having
that. We need that audio, dude. We need that audio.
yeah, yeah, honestly, yeah. Oh man, I should set it up. I was like, oh, right now I have Vader
Yeah.
here. So, um, so yeah, it's I don't know how they do it. But I think Jim has a point, and I I don't. It's just the whole thing is so desperate, and it's I just don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about it, right? Because but in both ends, right? Like Sony's kind of like looking like crybabies, right? But then Microsoft's over here like looking so sad, and it's like, dude, you're like you're $1 trillion company. Why are you like being such a baby about this, right? And then you got Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella out there saying that we have exclusives because of Sony, because people
For
want
sure.
exclusives. It's like, yeah, no, I was gonna use a word, but no, yeah. I was like, come on, dude, really, really.
Yeah.
It's like Nintendo's out there just outselling everyone. Why? Because of the exclusives. Nintendo's not outselling you because they have their own version of Mortal Kombat 1 coming
Nope.
to it. Nintendo's not outselling you without Nintendo's outselling you without Call of Duty.
Nintendo's outselling you with less hardware.
Yeah. Like it's not even comparable, right? It's like
No.
10 times your console is 10 times more powerful than the Switch.
100%.
And you and and they're outselling you without Call of Duty, without this other major like action franchises. Like the only thing they have is Fortnite, right? Now Fortnite, that doesn't run as well as on
Nope.
the other consoles. They're outselling you on their IP. They're outselling you on their exclusives, and Microsoft. So ideal, like Microsoft would be great as like a VCR, right? A VCR that you can just slide your tape, right? And you watch your I'm being super retro with this analogy, but
Yeah.
you know that's my is the whole VCR concept, right? It's like we make the VCRs, and you go to the store, right, and you rent a tape, and you watch it, and you return it, right? But then here Sony is like, no, like we have our thing, right? and you buy this from us and you get to keep it and then you use it. But we could also give you the option of going to the video store. And
Right.
so it's like a VCR versus a VCR DVD combo, right? There you go. I just did it myself with all this, analogies.
I
But
know what it is. The VCR DVD combo. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I know.
so that's how I see it, right? So Microsoft just wants to just like I just want to be I just want to be a VCR and I want people to leave us alone. But no, these people are forcing us to also get a DVD on it.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it is, right? It's like fans are clamoring for exclusives, no exclusives come out, and then you know, oh, Sony's forcing us to make exclusives because that's what people want. Of course, it is, man. I mean, I don't know. It's like and again the Sony's crying about it and being a baby. This guy's being a baby and Jim Ryan being a baby about it. It's kind of sad too, right? Because on their own, I know that Sony, with Bungie and they now that the Sega thing is out there, bro. It's like
Oh
could
yeah.
Sony come in and swipe them, right?
Yeah.
Could Nintendo come in and swipe them,
Ooh, the history of Nintendo and Sega, dude.
bro? They fused the
Whoa.
fusion dance and then they come together.
If you can't beat them, join them.
It's like it's been 20, Sega's been out of the console business for 22 years and now they
Oh
come
my
in
goodness.
and they get in. Um it's crazy. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. All this, again, dirty laundry out there and
Yeah.
it's great to I'm glad that a lot of people get to see the in and outs because they think that this like running this type of businesses is oh, if I would run it it'd be so easy, right? It's like
Oh,
when people think that they can run Disney, right? And it's like you know it's like
you could, Obed.
nah, come on. Come on. I probably could. I would rule with an iron fist. But to make everyone happy. It's my goal. It's my goal. Um yeah, I mean anything else you want to add because this is like I said we talked about the Game Pass stuff, but I know how you feel about that, but go ahead, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it did feel like Jim Ryan is dunking on him. Like they said the dirty laundry's out, and I know IGN put out an interesting opinion piece that I thought was pretty good perspective of like the mask has been removed from Microsoft in this moment, and really it's through these legal proceedings, through these documents and these paperworks coming out that we're actually getting an insight into the mind of Microsoft. And yes, when it comes to these types of legal hearings sometimes the documents, not sometimes but generally speaking, the documents are used in a way to try and I don't want to say victimize, it's not the right word I'm looking for, but make you empathize with them and say that why they really need a win in this, right? Because of maybe they've been wronged or what have you. But in this circumstance, I think um whatever happens on the legal side, that will play out the way it's supposed to and let, the court of law do what it's supposed to do. But when it comes to just the public opinion and the stance that fans and gamers alike are going to have, there's going to be a lot to look back on from everything that's been exposed and what may continue to come out going forward because it's still proceedings. That's
Yeah,
going to definitely stay with them and be a moment of history that we'll reference going forward because
yeah,
you'll know, oh, remember the Sega thing? Well, now we have this insight into it. And oh, what they were thinking with this and what thinking with that, and how the 2028 they're expecting to have new consoles, and it just there's so much that we're getting out of
yeah.
these hearings. This is fascinating,
And Project Q, like being mentioned, that
Project-
it was like under $300. Like
Yeah,
Microsoft already knows the price for this thing, right?
yeah.
And it's a rare glimpse, right? And this will make a really good console wars part two
Oh, yeah. What a great documentary
documentary.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because that, if you guys haven't watched any other console wars that's out there that, either read the book,
Paramounts.
yeah, either read the book or or watch the Paramount documentary, or
Yeah.
watch the High Score on
And
Netflix.
Netflix.
Um, you guys gotta watch. If you're like remotely interested in anything to do with kind of like this stuff that's happening right now, go watch Console Wars, read the Console Wars book, or watch uh, uh, High Score, because you'll see what happened behind the scenes between Sega and Nintendo, and it was like the Sega Nintendo that thing got personal. Like they were like almost gonna be like fist fights and
Oh,
everything. It
literally,
was
yeah. Oh, it was getting
yeah,
bad.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
people in
That's
court
why you
giving the
said
looks, and it got intense.
that's why you saying like, could there be an opportunity for Nintendo just to even fathom that of them coming together? People will be rolling in their graves, dude, if that
Bro,
happened.
that would be crazy, man.
Oh my
But I can
gosh.
see. I mean, I can see. I don't think Nintendo has any interest
Right?
on acquiring Sega, even if it has a partnership, and they can still like publish stuff out. And because I think that's the thing, Nintendo, they probably don't want to deal with having to deal with publishing their stuff on other devices. They don't want to deal with that, right? Sony, I can see, right, uh, bro. I'm telling you, man. Like if this deal goes through, um, there's gonna be Sony's gonna there. It's gonna be some big deal, purchases that they're gonna be doing, and then again, people are not gonna be happy. They're like, well,
Yeah.
Microsoft forced us to do this because, you know, they're trying to protect their slice of the pie, right? But at
Yeah.
the same time, they want an extra. They want our piece of pie to provide extra for their piece of pie. So um, again, the Square Enix that's been rumored for a long time. The Sony acquiring Square Enix. Even Capcom at this point, I would think it's on the table. But Sega for sure, dude. Like I can definitely see Sega,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sony coming in and after this got out there and just buying Sega. Like I could see that happening, and that yeah, yeah. um, you know, they just talk about just like buying the guys that put you out of business, the guys that you put out of business 22 years ago,
Woo.
basically,
My goodness. Chess
basically,
move.
dude. Um, that would be pretty crazy. I just think that Microsoft, um, we've been through this before, right? This is not the first time. Every time, and they've been doing this thing for a long time, right? When if something's big and hot, we'll just buy it and absorb it into one of our teams, and that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
Like they're gonna buy Sega and they're gonna absorb it into one of the teams, and they're gonna make trash games. And that's the unfortunate fact about Xbox, right?
Right.
Their studios are mismanaged. Um, Everything's delayed. Everything's behind. Everything's like, I don't know, man. Um, we're running out of time, but we can probably continue this discussion on the next show because I'm sure that
Oh
there's
yeah.
stuff that's gonna be coming out there in the near future. But